this episode of Our College, Your Voices. I'm your host, Kara Monroe. In 2019, Ivy Tech partnered with Packback. Packback is an AI-supported online discussion platform that uses inquiry and artificial intelligence to monitor and moderate student discussions while helping instructors scale impact and feedback. Ivy Tech chose to partner with Packback in order to achieve a few goals. These are just a few of them. Innovating with new technologies, improving student success with an emphasis on closing equity gaps, and improving instructor and student engagement. Today, we're going to hear from a couple of our early adopters of Packback at Ivy Tech, as well as co-founder and chief product officer at Packback. Let's meet our panel. First up is Doug Lalama. Hi, Doug.
Hey, my name is Doug Lalama. I've been with Ivy Tech for 14 years. Started off as an adjunct out of Indianapolis, and then for about 11 years, I was a full-time faculty member in psychology at the Lake County campus, Gary at Lake County. And then about 6 months ago, I took a new position, assistant faculty lead for psychology with IvyOnline. I was in the original group that started Packback back at the beginning of 2020. So it was probably about 2 years ago now that we first heard about it. And so I've been using it ever since. So for over about 2 years now, I've been using Packback in virtually all my classes.
Excellent. Thanks for joining us today, Doug. And next up is Lynn Barbie. Hi, Lynn.
Hi, Lynn Barbie. I taught for the Lake County campus for probably 10 or 11 years, and then a little bit for Valpo campus. And for the last year and a half or so have been a key adjunct for IvyOnline. So I teach strictly online right now. I love it.
Excellent. And last but not least is Jessica Tenuta. Hi, Jessica.
Hi, everyone. Thanks for having us on today, Kara. My name is Jessica Tenuta. As Kara said, I'm Packback's Chief Product Officer. So my work is primarily focused around making sure that our platform meets the needs of students and professors, talking to our customers, hearing what people are saying, and then developing the plan for where the product's going to head from here forward. So I'm really excited to be here. My background's in design, so you'll probably hear me talking with a big perspective on how people use the software. Very, very excited to be here.
We don't always invite vendors onto our podcast, but I want to say as we start this, one of the reasons why we have invited Packback and why we've continued to work with them is Packback has been a really good partner with Ivy Tech and has allowed us to inform the product and what it could be. And so I want to say at the front, Jessica, how much we appreciate that. And I want our faculty to hear from their colleagues about how great the product is, because I know that that's the expertise that they need to hear from. But I hope that you would start out by just providing an overview of what and why for Packback, really focusing in on the pedagogy and faculty as end users, if you don't mind.
Packback is a different approach to running online discussions. The main difference at its core is that on Packback, students are asking the discussion prompts, and they're being prompted to ask open-ended, big picture questions. And feedback is being given to them from our system, as well as by the instructor. And the way that kind of comes together is that our system provides AI-based feedback on sort of the content moderation, grading, scoring, instant feedback while the students are writing to supplement the instructor's personalized one-to-one human feedback. So we very much strive to build a software that complements and supports the faculty in the work that they're trying to do connecting with students. So I think what's maybe unique or different about the way that we've built our software is that first and foremost, I don't view us as a software company. I view us as a pedagogy and an approach to discussion. And then we've tried to build technology that actually makes that pedagogy possible at scale and easier for faculty. So if the technology is ever at the forefront, we actually try to pull that back because I think that's sort of missing the bigger picture of what we're trying to accomplish. It is possible to achieve some of the things that Packback does without technology. It starts with the problem that we're trying to solve, which is really helping students be intrinsically motivated about the work they're doing in their class and using their curiosity to connect and be more self-guided in their learning. So we're very, very excited to be able to partner with Ivy Tech. It's really an honor for us. Been really excited about the research that we've been doing on campus there with y'all to learn more about how Packback impacts student outcomes, especially with an equity lens, because it's exciting to be able to work with such a large institution and be able to tap into that broad data set and make sure that we're continuing to push the product forward. So the main thing that it does for instructors is allow instructors to spend their time more meaningfully. It's not just to save time, but to redirect time from the more rote tasks of monitoring discussion towards those one-to-one personalized interactions. So very, very cool for us to have two of our users, our customers, our partners on this call. I can't wait to hear from you both. Members of my team have told me about both of you, and I can't wait to hear more about your experience. So thanks again for having us here today, Kara.
Our pleasure. Lynn, I'm going to start with you. How did you become interested in using Packback?
I think I'd gotten an email offering that if anybody was interested, and I jumped on it. I was bored with discussion boards. Bored, get the pun? I was bored with discussion boards, looking for something different, and I really enjoy it.
And Doug, for you, what sparked your interest in Packback?
I always like to try new things. And to tell you the truth, when I first heard about it, I was very skeptical. I really didn't think it would really work. And so, but I gave it a shot, and it didn't take me too long to really be surprised at how things were different. I've been doing discussion. I've been teaching online classes for a long time. And I've taught many, many online classes. And I always thought that discussions ended up being just quasi-assignments. And there really was no discussion. And so I think by the students allowing the students to create the questions, it allowed them to explore things they were interested in rather than everybody talking about the same thing. And I think one of the weaknesses of online classes, especially in terms of discussion boards, is that it's really limiting as to what you can discuss in class. Typically you have a discussion board that's about one topic, so you talk about one topic. But with Packback, if I have 25 students, I can talk about 25 topics. So it really expands the possibilities. And I've seen students have been blown away, actually, by some of the responses that I've seen the students make, way beyond what I would normally ever see in a typical discussion.
Lynn, what was your thought as you decided to do it? You responded to that email. What did you think it would be, or what, we heard Doug went in as a skeptic. How'd you approach it, and what's your first sort of experience been like?
I don't know. I don't know if I was skeptical. I was curious. Curious, that's a good word. And ready to try something new. Just like I said, I was bored with the way things were. I was a little frustrated at students who basically said the same thing as the next guy. And I know that in a lot of cases, we have it so set up so that students cannot post until they reply, which, as an interesting thought, I think is a little intimidating for those who are unsure of themselves. So I like the fact that with Packback, it also gives students the option of looking at other students' questions and maybe learning what we're looking for, and allows them to just respond. So it gives them a little more freedom. Yeah.
Good. So Doug, you mentioned you've been blown away. Can you dig into that a little bit more? What have the results that you've seen been so far, and what surprised you overall?
I think the depth that some students go into, not everybody, but some students go into levels of depth that, quite frankly, I haven't seen since I took a PhD class in a discussion. I had a guy in a class last spring who, he averaged probably 5 references for every discussion. And you could tell he was just digging in. And I see people, looking up videos and posting videos and doing things that you just normally don't see. So, it's that kind of really unexpected kind of thing you just don't see it in a discussion. But I think the other thing is that whenever I do things, I always put my own spin on it. And, so I tell them exactly what I'm looking for. I said, this is what you need to do. And I don't tell them what to talk about, but I tell them how to do it. Mm-hmm. And since I've been doing that, I've had really, really good results, very, very high curiosity scores in my classes, and just people who, and after a while, it takes, sometimes it takes a couple of weeks, but by that 3rd or 4th week, it's really pretty amazing.
Lynn, what about you?
I also agree that I like seeing the questions the student asks, that they ask. I was a little surprised at the one student who asked if cats can see in 3D when this is a business course. Like, I don't know if she was, I didn't understand that
That's what was on their mind this week, Lynn. I mean,
yeah. And I like that we can, intervene a little bit and, give our feedback privately. But some of the questions are things you could tell what that is. Well, first of all, in an in-class discussion, students are going to talk about all kinds of things.
Right.
And I've always wanted and liked when discussions are conversational more than assignment. Like you were saying, I think, Doug, sometimes they seem like another assignment. And I like that this could be a discussion and you could tell that these are things that are on their minds. And that makes them take ownership in that question. They're going to be curious to see what somebody else has responded to their question.
And I do have an advantage over you then, because psychology is way more interesting than business. Let's
not start that rivalry.
I don't know.
But my students can literally talk about anything, and I think within business, it's a little more structured, let's just say.
Maybe, although with business management, there is a psychology,
absolutely
behavior involved.
Certainly. So the two of you, I've known the two of you probably almost as long as you've both been at Ivy Tech, and I've gotten to know both of you somewhat well. I know the two of you to be really good adopters of new things, and you both even sort of mentioned that in your descriptions of yourselves. Mm-hmm. So as new adopters, we sometimes just take it for granted. It's going to work. I'll figure it out. It'll be fine. But other faculty are much more hesitant. What advice do you have if that hesitant group is thinking, this Packback thing sounds kind of interesting? Why should they try it? What would you tell them is the thing that will just absolutely grab their attention and go, you should try it for this reason?
Kara, I think with any kind of technology, I like to check it out. And I don't like everything that comes down the pike, the educational technology, people are always saying, oh, here's the next thing, and so I look at it. Some of it I don't like, some of it I do like. And I think you have to find those things that appeal to you, those things that work within what you do. Everybody, I can't be like everybody else. I have to be like who I am. So I have to be authentic to myself. So I look for those things. I'm always looking for a new angle to allow me to be authentic. And, I think Packback, as an example, was one of those things where that did, because it was kind of the answer to a question I had for a really long time. How do you make discussions less like an assignment and more like a discussion? And I think that's a major issue with online classes in terms of discussions, because we should. Sometimes I just think we should just call them assignments and not call them discussions, because they're really assignments. So this technology kind of spoke to me, and I think Jessica made a point that you don't have to have Packback to allow students to ask questions. Anybody could do that, but I think that they've done a really nice job of aiding instructors in the process. Quite frankly, I still don't understand how the AI grades, but it is, and I don't necessarily use the curiosity points as a score in terms of a grade, but I allow it to inform what my grade is going to be. So, I think it's been very helpful that, and I think the features that you've added that help the students, those little spinny things that, is that the correct terminology for those?
Jessica, what are the spinny things?
That's the instant feedback. So when students are writing, they're getting feedback on a couple of different components of their writing work. So looking at their credibility, their curiosity, how deep are they going into the work? What's their grammatical correctness in their post, and getting all this kind of formative feedback that doesn't punish them. So they can change all that before they submit.
Excellent.
And it's in real time.
Yeah.
So they can kind of see where they're heading, like right as they're doing it. So I mean, I think that's really kind of ingenious to do that. Okay. And then sometimes I someday maybe perhaps Jessica and I can meet and she can explain the AI to me on how it really works.
Lynn, what about you? What's the thing about Packback that you would tell people, if you're thinking about this is what you should try Packback?
Well, first of all, did I mention it's not boring? I guess I get bored easily. But the other thing is, I say it's like social media. I tell students that too. It's like social media. When students post, I say, try to come up with a question that we think will get a response from people, because that's what you want on Facebook or whatever else. So that's usually what I do with when I'm trying to talk somebody or tell somebody how much fun it is, I guess. Right. Maybe fun the right word, but yeah, it's just definitely more interesting that way.
We can call work fun. That's allowable. Yeah. But work can be fun. That's okay.
I was going to say that, I've gotten more unsolicited emails from students about how much they like Packback than anything else I've ever done ever. So, the students really like it. Yeah. And I think they really feel like engaged with it.
I likewise get unsolicited emails from faculty members who say, please let us keep this because we really like it. And here's why. And they almost always include, and I love that they do this, a question or questions that their students asked that really impressed them. And they're usually very impressive questions. I'd say probably pretty high curiosity scores on those questions. And I go, I'd like to have a discussion about that. That would be fun. So I love to see that too.
I occasionally have students who don't even seem to attempt. Now, there are students in classes who won't do the discussion boards either. I mean, that's just the way it is. And I go do an overview of how it works. I do a demo in my course overview, that kind of thing. But I do think it just definitely has I think that if the whole school were to be using Packback, it would make it a lot easier, because there are some students who they're just used to one thing and they don't see a need to want to do anything different. And some faculty members are the same way.
Yeah, absolutely. So Jessica, since Doug has asked a little bit about the AI, can you tell us a little bit about how it works?
So on Packback, since the students are asking the questions and they're making, honestly, a ton of posts over the course of a term, you can imagine that without some technology to support with monitoring and giving feedback to the students on all those posts, it would become very overwhelming for instructors. So our AI does a few things to help assist with the management of a discussion like this. The first is content moderation. So as the students are posting, every time that they make a new post, the AI is checking for certain components of the post that would be against the community guidelines. So the first and foremost important thing that we're looking for in a post is making sure that it is truly open-ended instead of a closed-ended question. So can multiple students answer this question in new and unique ways from one another, as opposed to just restating what the last student said? If it detects that that is not happening in the post, it'll give the student feedback by email, give them an opportunity to edit and revise their post. And the system also checks for things like plagiarism, profanity, other kind of close-ended items that we'd want to look for in a post. The next area that it gives feedback on, to Doug's point, is instant feedback while the students are writing. So our goal is to try to pull feedback as far left in the process as possible, giving the students feedback before they've even submitted, letting them edit and revise in real time, giving them that sense of competency while they're writing, as opposed to only reactive feedback once they submit. And then the third component, which Doug also cited, is our curiosity score, which it's interesting that you mentioned that you don't use that for a grade. I'm actually happy to hear that. We hope that that is really used more as an insight to inform the students on how they're progressing, inform the instructor on how they're progressing, and help inform our team on how a class overall is progressing. So we can see if there's any ways that we can offer guidance or support to help reinvigorate the discussion. So we really try to avoid extrinsic motivators in the platform as much as is possible, while knowing that we still exist inside of the system of grades and assignments, right? So it's exciting to me to hear that you use that more to inform how you're looking at the discussion as opposed to as a grade.
I love the phrase of pulling feedback as far to the left as possible. I think that's a good thing for us to just all think about as faculty, that, our goal is to help students improve in their learning, and giving them feedback as early as possible is so good. And so I love that Packback does that. Well, I'm really excited to have heard more about the tool. I've seen demos of it, but I love to hear from our faculty about tools that they love. If you listen to the podcast regularly, we always end every episode with a call to action. So for anyone interested in Packback, the instructional design team here at the college has prepared a Packback community of instructors in IvyLearn with resources to help you using the discussion tool and the innovative teaching strategy behind it. There, you're going to be able to find answers to several questions and contact information to help you get started. Jacob Varney from the instructional design team was supposed to join us today. He was called to serve on jury duty. So Jacob, thank you for serving your civic duty to us. but we will make sure that a link to that community of instructors is in the show notes. I'm going to read the link, but I know that's sometimes hard. So you can always check out our show notes, and I'll tell you how to do that in just a second. It's https://link.ivtech.edu/join-packback-COI for community of instructors. Join-packback-COI. So again, that'll be in our show notes. Thanks again for listening to this episode of Our College, Your Voices. I want to thank our panelists today, Doug Lalama, Assistant Faculty Lead in Psychology and Associate Professor of Psychology with Systems Office in the IvyOnline team, Lynn Barbie, Adjunct Faculty, originally from Lake County in Valparaiso and now with IvyOnline, Jessica Tenuta, co-founder and chief product officer at Packback. And special thanks to Jacob Varney, who did help us produce today's episode. I'm your host, Kara Monroe. You can connect with me on Twitter at K&M Tweets. Our producer is Sarah Ferguson. You can reach us by email at ourcollegeyourvoices@ivytech.edu. Don't forget, if you're an Ivy Tech faculty or staff member, you can join our Microsoft Teams listener community. Our website, where you'll find links to our show notes, is ivytech.edu/podcast. Production assistance for this and every episode is provided by Becky Campbell and the Ivy Tech Community College Creative Services team, and our podcast concept is by Matthew Pittman. Theme music and post-production services provided by Jen Eads at the Brassy Broadcasting Company, and we will talk to you next time on Our College, Your Voices.